hear that? That monotonous, repetitive, almost hypnotic buzzing? It has been broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for over 50 years. But the scariest part isn't the sound itself, it's what happens when it stops. Welcome to Dust of the Gods podcast. Today, we are tuning into frequency 4625 kHz to unravel the story of Russia's ghost radio station, UVB 76, better known as the Buzzer. What is UVB 76? For those who have never heard of it, UVB 76 is a shortwave radio station transmitting from Russia, likely since the late 1970s. The nickname, the Buzzer, comes from that exact sound we heard in the intro. It acts as a channel marker. To radio enthusiasts awake at night is that, occasionally, the buzzing cuts out, and a live human voice breaks through the static. It's usually a Russian voice, often distorted, reading out a string of names and numbers. Messages like Anna, Nikolai, Ivan, Tatiana. According to Priyom.org, an international community that monitors intelligence stations, these names actually form call signs. Curiously, until 2010, the station identified itself as UVB 76. Since then, it has changed its identity several times, using call signs like MDZHB and, more recently, NZHTI. But the original name stuck, and the internet refuses to call it anything else. Theories and the dead hand. Now you might be asking yourself, what is the point of all this? The most famous theory, and certainly the most terrifying, has been explored in articles by Wired magazine and Popular Mechanics. They discuss the possibility that UVB 76 is part of the perimeter system, also known as the dead hand. It's a theory straight out of a spy movie. If Russia were to suffer a devastating nuclear strike that wiped out their military command, the silence of this radio station would act as an automatic trigger to launch Russia's entire nuclear arsenal back at the enemy. In other words, if the buzzing stops, the end of the world begins. It makes for a great story, doesn't it? However, most experts, including analysts cited by the BBC, believe in a much more pragmatic explanation. UVB 76 likely serves as a military communication channel for Russia's military districts. The constant buzzing simply serves to mark the territory, preventing anyone else from using the frequency. When the voice interrupts, it's delivering encoded messages to specific military units or spies. It's what is known as a number station, an old-school encryption method, but one that is mathematically unbreakable if you have the right one-time pad. The mystery of Pavrovo and recent events. The location of the transmitter is another fascinating piece of the puzzle. For years, triangulations pointed to a small town called Pavrovo, near Moscow. But in 2010, the station stopped transmitting from there. Following the silence, a group of Russian urban explorers ventured into the abandoned site in Pavrovo. They found a deserted military bunker, stray dogs, and incredibly, a radio logbook confirming the transmissions on frequency 4625 kHz. This exploration was widely documented on radio forums and covered by the tech site /gear. Today, it is believed to broadcast from multiple locations, including St. Petersburg and Naro-Fominsk. But what has really caught the world's attention are the events of recent years. We are recording this in January 2026, and the last 2 years have been chaotic for UVB 76. We saw reports in late 2024 and throughout 2025 of massive spikes in activity. And not just military messages. Hackers and radio pirates managed to hijack the frequency multiple times. Listeners reported hearing Swan Lake playing over the buzzer. For those familiar with Soviet history, that is chilling. State TV used to play that ballet on a loop during the collapse of the Soviet Union or during attempted coups. Hearing it on UVB 76 was symbolic, to say the least. According to sources like Times Now and the independent outlet Meduza, these spikes in encoded messages often coincide with moments of high geopolitical tension. It's almost as if the radio is a thermometer for global stability. The more it talks, the more worried we should be. Conclusion. In the end, UVB 76 is a relic of the Cold War that refuses to die. It survived the fall of the USSR, the rise of the modern internet, and it continues buzzing right now, even as I speak. If you have a shortwave radio or use an online SDR, software-defined radio, receiver, you can tune into 4625 kHz right now. It's there. Buzzing. Waiting. Thanks for tuning into the mystery of the shortwave ghost. Until next time.